All right, everyone, welcome to Mebane and today's wonderful Mebane Business Association Fiddler Stage ribbon cutting. At this time, I'm welcoming to the stage from the Chocolate Drops, Justin Robinson.
Okay, hey y'all. I'm just gonna play a few of tunes that I learned from Joe Thompson. And this is the very first one that he said he learned how to play when he was a kid, which is called Hook It a Lot. So I'm happy to be here, happy to be kicking this off. Maybe I can announce this now, but well, I'm going to anyway. Me and Rhiannon, my former bandmate with the Chocolate Drops, we're releasing a new album, and we recorded it, a lot of it, right here in Mebane at Joe's house. So these are some of the ones you'll hear on here. Okay, what do we play? Maybe we'll play, what do we do? I can't really sing and play, and otherwise I would. That's one of my favorite songs that Joe did. Let's do a little bit of pumpkin pie. Okay, we'll do this last little one that Joe liked to play called Love Somebody. Other people know it as Soldiers of Joy. Nope. I started going to the wrong one. Thank you. Okay, y'all ready? Who's ready?
Let's do one more round of applause. Good morning. It is my pleasure on behalf of the 2024 Alamance Chamber Board of Directors to welcome you to today's ribbon cutting at the Mebane Business Association's Fiddler Stage. Our president, Reagan Garab, could not be here today. She apologizes for missing the event. We always find joy in coming to Mebane and celebrating these sorts of occasions of openings and additions and expansions, and especially and particularly with your wonderful Parks and Rec system here in Mebane. As a grand boy, it kind of pains me to come to Mebane and bring my children to all your wonderful facilities, but we've enjoyed Kate's Farm, this park, many others walking downtown. It's a beautiful system that you've created of parks and recreation. So we applaud the Mebane Business Association, a collaborative business entity made up of local businesses that have come together and worked on this project as a chamber. We know what that's like and appreciate that mission. So congratulations to that group. So I thank you for being here today on such a crisp, wonderful morning, or autumn morning. And it's my pleasure to introduce Steve Carter from the Alamance County Commissioners.
Thank you, Griffin. I'm not quite as tall as you are. This is a beautiful location here. This is my first time visiting this location in the county. First pass at it, I'm really impressed with what Mebane has done up here. It's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous day. I don't know what you paid to order this weather this morning, but you did a good job, and I think everybody will enjoy taking a look at what's going on here. And I really enjoyed, we just left with music. That was beautiful. Fabulous facility, a wonderful addition to the community here in Alamance County, and Vice Chair of the Alamance County Board of Commissioners. I'm here just to help welcome this addition to our community, our overall community, and encourage citizens from around the county to come over here and enjoy your facilities and do a little bit of shopping in downtown Mebane and shop wherever they need to shop in Mebane for that matter. So, again, I'm here to introduce Tim Bradley, who's Mayor Pro Tem. Tim, come on up now. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate you being here, and good morning. and welcome to this wonderful event to commemorate the christening of this stage, as well as continued recognition of the statue and two of our city's most cherished entertainers. Mayor Oaks couldn't be here today, so I'm pinch hitting as Mayor Pro Tem, and as he and our previous Mayor, JoeDell Stevenson, would always say, it's another great day to be in the city of Mebane, North Carolina, USA. So welcome. I'd like to take a moment to recognize other city council members present for the event. Councilman Jonathan White, Councilman Sean Ewing, Councilwoman Montrina Hadley. I don't see Katie Burkholder, but she
in the back.
She's back there. Our city manager, Preston Mitchell, is going to spend some time recognizing staff and the contractors when he speaks. I grew up in Mebane. When I was a kid, we used to fish in this pond back here. Mr. McLeod never seen the mine. The fish weren't very big, but just getting out in nature and enjoying fishing was such a wonderful opportunity and worth the time. I won't waste too much time or mention too much, so we probably chased his cows around this pasture a little bit while we were here. So it gives me a great deal of pleasure that the city was able to preserve this park and keep it forever as a natural area and a recreation area for our citizens well into the future. Today's dedication provides just another opportunity and another venue for that to occur. It's often funny how things work, often providential. Going west from the city, once you top the hill, all this is what we consider lower ground. So, as developers looked at this property over the years, developers like Mebane, as they looked at this property over the years, they recognized that since it was so low, in order to put a development here, they were going to have to put in a wastewater pump station, which is quite expensive and made it less profitable to build here. So they looked at the property and moved on. So after discussion over an extended period of time, we negotiated with the owners of the property to purchase it for a park. We had been looking for a park area on the north side to sort of rival or match our park on the south side over at Frigador, the Mac. In addition, the opportunity to extend Clay Street and make a natural connection to our wonderful and historic downtown was just too great to pass up. Also, staff knew, the council knew at the time that they were going to be completing the 119 reroute, which would also give citizens on the southern and northern end of our county and access to the park as well. So, as a result, the city purchased the park, purchased the land, and it became known as the Mebane City Community Park. I would be remiss not to mention those many managers and staff members in the past that had so much to do with putting this together. The engineer, the previous city manager, David Cheek, Chris Rollins as well. And the city, in conjunction with the Parks and Recreation Commission, as well as Parks and Recreation staff, spent a lot of time surveying the citizens on what we wanted or what we needed here. We wanted to make sure we had growth for recreation in our future, but also a natural area for citizens to enjoy. Soccer fields, our splash pad, dog park, which is quite popular, walking trail, and of course we had in the plans an amphitheater or a stage such as this. Park was originally planned to, when it was finished, the initial plans came in at about $12.5 million. After some tweaking and cutting to make it more feasible financially, it actually came in finally as $7.5 million. Some of the things that were tweaked have since been added, I'm glad to say. We also, just to come west on Clay Street, we also negotiated some land exchange with American Legion. So there was a lot of coordination, a lot of players. So Clay Street was extended. Park opened in the winter of 2018. And once everyone saw how fantastic it was and how well space we used, we began to add the other amenities that could make the big impact we wanted for the citizens of the state. And after the park opened, some of these things were completed. The addition of flagpoles, which were recently installed. The Cone Health Fitness Center or fitness court behind you. They're completing now the Woodlawn entrance and parking, which will give additional parking for our venues here. And of course, we eventually bought the land a couple of years ago adjoining Highway 70 to give us the ability to expand the park even further. So in addition to this wonderful addition, this is just a great place and a great home, and it will be here for the future citizens of our city. We're so proud of it. The name Fiddler Stage obviously pays tribute to the statue close by, which was another addition, and commemorates Joe and Odell Thompson, two of our, as I mentioned before, our city's famous entertainers. Later in the program, Dr. Chapman is going to give you some information on those, but I'm sure she would likely explain that this was exactly the kind of quaint environment that Joe and Odell like to play in. It was a great fit for both the park and to pay tribute to those two entertainers and wonderful men. I also like to say that statue has become such a part of the city and ingrained in the city that when we have people retire or we have special recognition from the city, we often present a miniature similar replica of that statue in actual brick to those. So it's actually become a very important part of our city. The project was approved for funding by the Mebane City Council, but we also received a gracious donation from the Mebane Business Association, a well-respected organization. The Mebane Business Association and the City of Mebane have partnered for years. Most of you know the Dogwood Festival. This year they added the Autumn Festival downtown. There is always something going on in downtown Mebane. It's well organized and a great group of people. I'm sure I joined the other council members in appreciating the fact and recognizing that we have such a great working relationship with the downtown merchants and the Mebane Business Association. And we're so proud of our Mebane downtown, which is the centerpiece of Mebane, historic in nature, and now host to a new Main Street program. So on behalf of the City of Mebane, I'd like to thank the Mebane Business Association for their kind donation. I'd also like to invite Mebane President Valerie Bosele to the front to say a few words about the MBA and why it was so important to them. Thank you all for being here. Hope you enjoy the event. Thank you.
Good morning. I am honored to be here today as the current Mebane Business Association president. And we look at this as more than just a structure. This represents to us, the Fiddler Stage represents to us, is what it looks like when we partner with the organizations in town for a common goal. And we would like to thank the rec department for the opportunity to partner with them on this project. Without their offering, we would not be able to be a part of this. And I would also like to thank past presidents Jessica Niles, who's here with us today. Jessica, she and Maurice Fast and Michael Fuentes were all instrumental in securing the funds for the donation to this project. And it is with great pride that we were able to make this donation to it. We continue to partner with the rec department on many projects throughout the city, and it is something that the Mebane Business Association takes pride in. And most of what we generate from the Dogwood Festival and from the Autumn Fest this year goes right back into the community so that we can do projects like this. So I thank you for allowing me to speak today. I like to keep it short and sweet. And Preston, I want to, sorry about that, not as formal as the rest of them.
Morning, everyone. I have two parts this morning. The first part is I'd like to recognize some key groups and individuals as Mayor Pro Tem Brandon did for their role in this project. First, I'd like to recognize City Council and the citizens for their support and leadership on this project. Again, I'd like to recognize Mebane Business Association for their partnership. I'd also like to recognize and mention their names again, past City Manager Chris Rollins and David Cheek. It is worth noting the city council, citizen input, and our leadership at the city level for this project viewed this project as a bookend of Clay Street, along with the redevelopment of the Lawson White furniture. So you have those on the eastern side and the western side. So this was envisioned as a bookend in addition to the entire city, but also a bookend to downtown Mebane as well. I'd also like to recognize our contractor, WC Construction. Do they have any representatives here today? We were not sure if they were going to be able to attend, but they did. Yes. So glad to have you here today. So great job. Also I'd like to recognize our designer, Surface 678, Garrett Baker. I know he's here. He raised his hand. Would like to recognize generically several city department heads and staff that played a big role, but specifically and especially want to recognize Recreation and Parks Director Aaron Davis and his staff for their work on this project. Also, City Engineer Franz Holt played a great role in the successful outcome of this project as well. So with that, next part of my section, it's my honor to introduce our next speaker. She herself and her family are a valuable asset to our community, and I will now read her very impressive bio. So, Dr. Iris Thompson Chapman was born in Cedar Grove, North Carolina. He grew up in both Orange and Alamance counties. She graduated from Central High in Hillsborough and attended North Carolina College, now North Carolina Central University, and earned a BA degree in English. She further studied at the University of South Carolina, earning her doctorate in composition and rhetoric. With her mother being ill, she and her husband migrated back to North Carolina in the early 90s, and she accepted a position as the assistant professor at Elon University, teaching first-year writing. In 1996, she and another professor developed a study abroad program in Ghana, West Africa, and took students there for several years. In 1999, she received a fellowship to study African literature at The Ohio State University. Besides the many committees she served on, she has delivered many papers around the country, even in Johannesburg, South Africa, at the 40th year conference of the African Literature Association. After retiring from Elon, she discovered the need to tell the world of her father's first cousins, Joe and Odell Thompson. She did the documentary, or created a documentary, The Life and Times of Joe Thompson, an award-winning film that can be seen at folkstreams.net. It was selected by WUNC-TV as one of its 10 anniversary events in 2004. She has also completed a second documentary, The Closing of a School, The History and Legacy of Central High in Hillsborough, North Carolina. She currently serves on the Mebane Museum Board of Directors. She also serves as president of the Alamance Burlington School System, Closing the Achievement Gap Board. GAP is in its third year of mentoring at Broadview Middle School. For over 25 years, she has organized and moderated a read-in where people of all races come together and read favorite piece by or about an African American during Black History Month. Iris, along with her family, attends Green Level Christian Church, where she, as the church parliamentarian, or serves as church parliamentarian and chair of the Scholarship Council. As part of the youth ministry, she developed a career in coaching, a college coaching course for middle and high school students. She is the daughter of the late George Weiner and Odell Thompson. She and her husband, William, reside in Mebane, and they have one son, William. She is a big part of our community. She is a huge partner for the City of Mebane organization, but also the community of Mebane. So please join me in the honor of welcoming Dr. Chapman to the stage. Thank you so much.
Good morning. I'm not going to read on this. This is our latest copy of the Thompson family, and I wanted to ask my sister, how many names are in here, whether they're living or dead? Do you remember? Over 2,000. 2,000. So we're still keeping up with each other. 4 years ago, the Joe Thompson Legacy Committee, along with city officials and members of the Mebane Museum, we all were happily readying ourselves to celebrate the official opening of this park. And I think it had just been completed in 2019. The programs were in their final drafts, and the invitations all were ready to be sent out. We had planned this big gala for April 5, 2020. Not only were we excited about the opening of the store, but we were also ecstatic about the city's recent purchase of the statues of Joe and Odell. But all of you know what happened. COVID-19 crushed our party. So it is altogether fitting and proper that we hold this event today. After COVID, there didn't seem a little need to move to celebrate the opening of the park, since people were already coming and enjoying taking pictures even before April 5. But I want to thank the Mebane Business Association for making this happen today. Because of their gift to make this stage the Fiddler Stage, we have the opportunity to gather and talk about Joe and Odell and their significance to all of us, which we would have done 4 years ago. I want to talk a bit about the Thompson family, about Joe and Odell's accomplishment, and about the impact of their music. We know that our lineage goes back to 1800, but the ancestor that we know the best is Robert Thompson, Bob Thompson. Bob was born in 1849. He was married to Kate Nelson, and they had 11 boys and 1 girl. 11 boys and 1 girl. The story is told that Bob taught the boys to play string band music, and he was a strict disciplinarian, which means he made them practice and practice. And if Joe was standing here, he said, until they got it right. Even though Bob Thompson's lineage started out with 12 lines, today at the reunions, we have only 8 lines with descendants, 7 boys and 1 girl. I know I have a few family members up there, and I will do a quick roll call like we do at the reunion. And when you hear your name called, your line name called, just raise your hand or holler out, do a shout out. Jacob Arthur was a great banjo player. Robert Anderson. John Arch. Joe Thompson, the fiddle player, comes from this line. Don't ever forget John Arch. Walter Thompson. Odell descends from that line. George Wesley. Now, I don't know him as a fiddle player, but that's my line. Sidney Allen. Baxter's line. Baxter Thompson. That's and the 1 girl, Martha's line. Well, I have to say, Senator Forrest came and got a girl from the Sidney Allen line, and he's not, I don't know if they are here today. Cousin Martha Anderson Braves from the Robert Thompson line told me that among these 8 lines, there were 67 first cousins. 67. Anybody else out there with 67 first cousins? By the time Joe and Odell were born in the early 1900s, their fathers and uncles were already outstanding string band musicians extraordinaire. Joe's dad, John Arch, on the fiddle, and Odell's dad, Walt, and their brother Jake played the banjo. Joe always told us that his father never wanted him to play this fiddle. He said that he was too young and you might tear it up. Moreover, Joe's older brother, Nathaniel, was already playing the banjo. So Joe's mother, Aunt Rosie, told her cousin that she had to get Joe a fiddle because that boy was about to run her crazy. So her cousin had traded some strings for a fiddle, and he was willing to give that fiddle to Joe. Of course, there was no strings on it, but that didn't make any difference to Joe. He would do what he saw the older boys do, and that is what? Pull those wires from a string note, and he put it on that native fiddle. And he told me by the next day, he was playing hook and line. You get a line, and I get a pole. Me wouldn't meet you at the call that so. That's how he started, and he was only 5 or 6 years old. Joe had laid around this family of the men so long that he had internalized all the style, those lyrics, the cadence that he had heard from his uncles and dad. So the patriarchs of the family had to make room for what I call the whippersnappers. Joe on the fiddle and Nathaniel, his brother, on the banjo. They played along with their fathers and their uncles. According to C.C. Conway, Appalachian State professor and guru, as I would say, on the development of the banjo, said that the family played 6 nights a week. 6 nights a week. 3 for whites, 3 for black. They played for house parties for whites. The dancers would be in 2 rooms, and Uncle George and Uncle Walter would sit in the doorway of those 2 rooms, facing one another, with knees to knee, brother. And there they play and call out keys and the says on the bathroom. I would say probably way into the night, or way into the morning. 3 nights blacks always stood around community work. If people had a corn shuck, and then all the black farmers did it, so they would just, at the end of the day, and they come and all of them would help each other. But after they would finish, that would be the frolicking and the dancing. The one night that string band music was not played, I bet every one of you can guess what night that was. It was Sunday night, as people at that time did not think of string band music as sacred music. And one can understand why. There was too much frolicking, all the dancing, and the drinking of bubbles that went on. But Joe never felt that way. He always adored the fiddle and the banjo, and didn't feel that they caused anything to keep them from each other. This music and dancing went on till it was time, as Joe says, until it is time to go to war. He's talking about World War II, which was around 1941 to 1945. He came back, he says, on Thanksgiving Day, 1945, at which time the string band music was waning. It was just almost coming to a complete, and you can imagine how Joe must have felt. He certainly blamed rock and roll. Elvis Presley, he would say to me, Elvis Presley, that stopped it right there. But truly, it was more than that. The rural areas, the birth of string band music, which is the fiddle, the banjo, square dancing, and the frog, had to give way for more types of entertainment. The radio was out, like people were listening to the radio stations. And there was television. Look at television now. You can imagine how they feel. It was just coming out. Rhythm and blues were here. And yes, rock and roll. But I think there was another main reason that brought this music to nearly halt, especially in the Piedmont in our area. Joe and Odell were not playing from the time he came from the war. They from 45 to about 75. My niece said to me once, Aunt Iris, if you hadn't made this film, I wouldn't have known this genre of music ever existed. And I certainly would have known that this was part of our family heritage. So if you were born in the late 40s, in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you knew little or nothing at all about string band music. You know, I did. Unless, suppose you were in the Jacob Arthur line or the John Arch or the Walter Thompson line, that's probably how you would know. Actually, it wasn't until Kip Lornell, now a professor at George Washington University, but he was a student from Greensboro College, a folklorist major, came looking for black string band musicians, and he found Joe and Odell. He told me that he first found Odell, and about 2 weeks later he came back, and he and Odell went to Joe's house. Kip told them, you got to go back to playing. You've got to represent the black musicians of string band music. And ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what happened. There was a revival of string music. And Odell and Joe became the new duo, the new duet. Joe replacing his father, John Arch, on the fiddle. Odell replacing his father, Walt, on the banjo.
They played all over the country: Virginia, West Virginia, D.C., Washington, New York, Michigan, Massachusetts, Tennessee, California, just to name the ones that I remember them talking so much about. Odell said that people would follow them everywhere they moved. Because he said, nobody played like us. That's what they'd tell them. And so everywhere we go, people want to play our music and they want to learn. Joe and Odell didn't know what notes they were playing in, as they never were taught how to read music. Like Joe said, it comes from the what? The ear. That's what he tell me all the time. Joe and Odell didn't know why they drew such popularity. They didn't know that perhaps they were the only string band musician playing as a duet, as a duo, a fiddle and a banjo together. Joe perhaps didn't know that he played that fiddle at times as if he were beating an egg, as they later call it, shuffling the bow. Joe didn't know he was flattening that third note of the scale each time, while white players never did that. And maybe that was making the difference, according to Wayne Mark. That they could call a square dance 16 hands, 8 girls and 8 boys, just as easily as they could call an 8-hand dance of 4 boys and 4 girls. They didn't know that their string band music crossed cultural and racial lines long before integration here in the late 1960s. And I didn't know that the words to the songs, the lyrics, were really not that important, as I was spending a lot of time with them trying to get the words to the songs copied. And then when I go back with them again, they would be singing another stanza of the same song that they told me, this is what we're singing. So when I start to say, this doesn't look like the song he just gave them, Joe leaned into me and said, Miss Chapman, it doesn't matter nothing about the words. As long as that rhyme and that timing is right, that's all you need. Most people didn't know that Joe and Odell, in their old age, never missed appointments. And they were 60 some years old in the 70s when they got started at the revival time. But and they were always willing to accommodate. If you wanted to interview them, they'd stop. If you wanted to play with them, they'd stop. Whatever. They were so accommodating. Most of us didn't know or don't know that Joe never strayed from string band music, like some of his cousins and others who played the blues or the bluegrass. Joe never did it. And he never, ever played any other instrument except for this. They didn't know that their music represented some of the oldest music on our continent. They were sought after to lead and teach workshops at these conventions and conferences that they were traveling to. They took children and adults to play their music. There were contests to determine which group was the best, and those string band players that Joe and Odell had taught would win those contests hands down. Their group was even called the JoeDell Band. The JoeDell Band. So, Odell, I hope we know why, and I hope you discovered why people wanted to follow you and why you guys were so popular. Joe and Odell played at the National Folk Festival, the Tennessee Banjo Institute, the American Fiddler Stage, the Smithsonian Institute, Carnegie Hall, the International Music Festival in Brisbane, Australia. They won numerous awards, including the Brown Hudson Award for the North Carolina Folklore Society, the North Carolina Heritage. In 2007, Joe Thompson was one of only 12 people in the country winning a National Heritage Fellowship Award from the National Endowment of the Arts, for which he received $20,000. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the country's highest award in the area of folk and traditional arts. On July 19, 2007, the General Assembly of North Carolina presented a Senate Joint Resolution No. 1569, sponsored by former Senator Tony Forrest, The resolution honored the accomplishments of Joe and Odell. Line 21 of that document praises Joe for mentoring a new generation of African-American string band musicians. They were represented, as we all know, the Chocolate Trucks, Brianna Gittens, Don Flenners, and Justin Robinson. I know he's here somewhere. Justin I know he's here today. I thought I saw him, but he's out there someplace. The three of them sat at Joe's feet on many weeknights, listening and playing with Joe until they became proficient with the Joe Thompson style of play. They both received several awards, but I think one of the greatest rewards that Joe received was the satisfaction that the Chocolate Trucks would take his music to the next generation and beyond. Even today, after nearly 10 to 30 years after their deaths, I, along with others, still get calls or emails from folk around the country inquiring of Joe and Odell. Brianna, the Chocolate Drops, called me up in 2022 to talk with her about Joe when she opened her BDC series. Just this year, Joe's son, McCoy Evans, raise your hand, okay? And Larry Belani and I were contacted by the curator of the North Carolina Museum of History about acquiring one of Joe's fiddlers in the North Carolina History Museum. September 6th this year, I heard from Jacqueline Deach from UCLA, who had just finished her book called Fiddling is My Joy. Almost hot off the press. The visa will be in May 2025. And earlier this year, Linda Kendrick, a fiddler and cultural historian, emailed me for information as she wanted to select Joe Thompson as an inductee into the North American Fiddlers Hall of Fame 2024, as she discovered that there had never been an African-American fiddler inducted in its 50-year history. And she called me recently, and she made it happen. In closing, I'd like to thank the music team that assisted Joe after the passing of Odell. It occurred pretty much in this order: Bob Clark, then Paul and Dale White, Alan Jewett and Claire, Steve Jewett, and Larry Belani. Finally, on behalf of the Joe Thompson Legacy Committee and the Joe Thompson family, we thank the city for its generosity and enthusiasm for the statues of Joe and Odell. And we thank again the Mebane Business Association for your event today, because it gave us an opportunity to share our kindred with you. And I can see with my prophetic eye our having an annual fiddling and banjo event on this stage every year. Both the statues and the annual concerts would stand as testimonies for Joe's and Odell's musical genius, which are gifts to Mebane, Alamance County, our state, our nation, and beyond. Thank you very much. And at this time, it is my duty to introduce you to a man who comes with a plethora of knowledge and experience of parks and recreation. And that's none other but Aaron Davis.
Thank you, Dr. Chapman. Before we cut the ribbon, which I know this is the culmination of this event today, I do want to say thank you to all of our speakers, to the Chamber for helping us out with this event, City Admin, City Council of Mebane, the department heads that are here. And I want to mention by name some of our recreation and parks folks that have helped out with this event. Hopefully you all saw Lindsay, Morris, and Becca Ligi up at the tents. I hope everybody received a program and a ticket for a drink, and you got some good food. If you haven't done that yet, please do that on your way out. The food trucks will stick around a little bit. Cy Ullman, Ray Sharp, Keith Withers, Chris Johnson all helped get the park looking beautiful for today. Jim Harding, Chase Aldman is also here. They were a big part of this. And Chris Clipping, he's behind the stage working the sound today. So again, I just want to thank everybody for being here. I appreciate everything that you all have done for the city of Mebane. And at this time, if we could bring council members forward and city admin and those on the stage to cut the ribbon.
Thank you, Sean.
He's got one side off. You would do it.